Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a great day. I am. I did a video, but I did too many things in one video. So I'm going to do it over. I did a lot of different mixed medias, and what I decided to do was do one at a time. So the first one I'm going to do is I had made some cameos in a small journal for those of you who are new. Oh my goodness, I didn't even ask you how you were. I hope you're well. But I had made a small journal in a tin, and I used this for the topper. And they're called Fairy Jewels, and they're sold by Lydia at Raindrop Lila. So I had a lot of requests for doing a video on them, and I didn't know if I'd be able to do it because of the drying time and stuff, but I can. It won't take long. So anyway, I'm going to do a couple of different things because I wanted to show you all the different things you can do with this type of thing. I call it junk journal jewelry, basically. Now, something this size you could use, you know, as a topper on your journal, if you would like. It's obviously, you know, much larger. It's the same one as this, but it's much larger. Obviously, this one is too. I shrunk these down 50%, so 2 to a page. So anyway, I also do them for my glue bottles. As you can see, this is very old. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't know if anybody in the community has done these, but if they have, you know, by all means. I am not one to say I am the first one to do something, ever. I always give credit where credit is due. And then the other one that I made today with mixed media is something that I'll do on another day, which is a lot of fun. So if I could just have a sip of water, I would appreciate it. Thank you. My allergies are really acting up, but I'm feeling better, which is good, considering. These little circles came from my journal I'm working on for my mom. Garden Story, which is almost done. Oh my gosh, if you could see the fussy cutting I've done, you'd die. But anyway, so what we're going to do is, so you can use them as dangles. They're very lightweight. So when you put them in your smaller bottles, for example, these have covers, but a lot of people use these smaller bottles. And look, they're very lightweight. You can find them easily on your desk, and they don't tip over your bottles. So I've been using those for a long time as well. You can use them to hang inside your journal. You can make dangles out of them for inside your journal or on the spine of a journal. And I'll show you one real quick. This was a giveaway for those of you who are new. There is another ribbon on this than there was last night because I wanted to give Karen, she won this journal, and I wanted her to have an option of a heavier ribbon than the seam binding. But this right here is another one that I made, only this one was with napkin, not with the digital. And I'll show you how to do that in a different video because doing everything at once took too long. So you could make a dangle, you know, or, you know, some sort of charm off the side of your journal, like so. Am I in frame? Yeah. Is my camera on? I think so. But anyway, isn't that pretty? And that's a napkin. It looks like a painting, but it isn't. And there's a couple of different steps you do to get it to be this way. And unfortunately, it just took too long because I tried to do, like I said, this particular method with the napkin and then, you know, with the digital. So we'll start off with the digital. And I also did this in the video as you can see, it's dry and it's done. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to be using these in my journal, so I thought I'd pull them out. What did I do? Oh, okay. Where's the, oh. Okay, we're all set. Let me just get a pair of scissors. What I do is I print them out on HP copy paper. I think it's 30 weight. Yeah, I think it's 30 weight, pretty sure. 27 pound. I forget. I looked up the GSM a long time ago. Now I can't remember. So I printed it out on that, and now what I did was, just to give it some strength, now with these came from the Botanical Kit as well. With these, I just put on old file folder because I like that green edge around it. And I'll put a different one on the back side, which I don't currently know where it is. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's not it. But see the difference? This one has not been glazed. This one has been. Now, there's a couple of different things you can use, and I'll get to that, to get that glaze effect. For the Cameos, or the Fairy Jewels, I did a couple of different techniques. I used a couple of different products, and the product I'm going to use on these today is the product that I found to make it look the most like, I want to say like a marble effect, almost like, you know, it was something that came from a long time ago. A long time ago. You know, like, yeah, like a Cameo or something. So I really like that product a lot. I use it a lot in different products. If you put it on the right way, it doesn't smear anything. You know, it doesn't smear your ink. I have an inkjet printer. And you can use glossy accents, and you can use Nuvo drops, but you have to be very, very careful with those because they seem to have a lot more water in them. And for me, if you're not very, very careful with it, it smears your ink if you're using an inkjet. I don't know about Mod Podge, like the gloss Mod Podge, because I can't use Mod Podge here because of the weather. I'm just going to turn this over because I've been using it, and it's kind of dirty. So, I'm sorry about the noise. This is just baking paper, so I don't get anything on the desk. There we go. On my mat. So what I do for the Cameos, or what I did do for the Cameos, the first thing I did was I used Rub and Buff. Now you can use a gold acrylic paint, which I've used quite often, and I'll show you on a different one, the difference. It's not much of a difference, really. I just like the effect of the Rub and Buff on the Cameos. And let me get out this other product. You don't have to do this next step, only if you wanted to. Okay, so again, these are called Fairy Jewels. And as you can see, it's, you know, a lot different now. This is the paper. I'm trying to put it towards the light so you can see, you know, how beautiful it is. And I did do the gold Rub and Buff on this as well, and I haven't backed it yet. But they come out gorgeous. And the smaller you make them, I have a technique where I can put wire around them and twist it and actually, you know, make like a little piece of jewelry out of it to put, you know, on your journal. But I'm not going to do that today. Okay, so I kept it large so that you could see what I was doing best. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I knew it. Where am I? Oh, they're over here. No, they're not. Did I put them away? I'm telling you what, as soon as I use something, I put it away. I'm afraid of making a mess. I take a Q-tip and I take most of the cotton off of it when I use the Rub and Buff. Sometimes I do use my fingers, but sometimes it's hard to get off. So this is Rub and Buff, and it's the antique gold. It lasts forever. It goes on metal, wood, let's see, paper. It's like a wax metallic product, and you can get it anywhere, like any craft store, Amazon. Yeah, I got this at when we lived in, before we moved here, we had a beautiful, like, professional, like, painting craft store, and that's where I got it. So I've used that on frames that I've painted to make them, you know, to make that, like, some of the wood on the frame. Sometimes, you know how a frame has, like, parts of it that stick out or what have you, and I've used the gold Rub and Buff on that. So then I just take, now I'm going to go wherever the gold is on this. So I'm just going to take my gold Rub and Buff, and I'm actually going to put it down to do it, because that way I know I'm just going to go on the edge, you know. I want to get it more on the paper than I do on her, really. And I'm not doing every single spot, as you can see. I'm just kind of hitting it here and there. And so yeah, it's a beautiful sunny day, obviously, in Florida. And I'm working on a few journals. My mom's is almost, well, it's close. It's close to being finished. I thought I'd have it finished by Monday, but of course I decided to add this and that and that and this and do this and that. And you know how it goes when you're making a journal. So, and then I've got my sister is, well, she's not my biological sister, but we've been friends for years, and she's like my sister. So her and her husband are coming from Tennessee next week. So I'm trying to get her journal finished and talk to my mom every day. Of course, she doesn't remember talking to me, which has me extremely concerned. So I'm just going around with the Rub and Buff. And as you can see, I hope, my hands aren't in the way, I'm just going along that edge. I'm not going inside the edge. I'd rather, you know, and if it gets on the back of it, it's fine, because I'm going to back it anyway. And you could back this with, like, felt and put one of those flat pins, you know, on the back and pin it to something. I mean, there's so many things you can do with these. And honestly, when I showed them to my husband, he thought they were real. He's like, how did you do that? He said, those look real. I'm like, I know. I'm so excited. Okay, so that's all the Rub and Buff I need to do. And I'll let that dry for a second. Just kind of get those edges good. Now I can pick it up and do like here, just in case you can see that part. And like I said, if it gets on that side, I don't care, because it's gonna, oh, before I go any further, I don't know if I mentioned this. After I print it, I place it on watercolor paper, just to give it some strength. Okay. I mean, you could put it on cardstock, I guess, but I like the weight of the watercolor paper. And you don't have to buy the most expensive watercolor paper. I mean, I'm not a watercolor artist, so I always buy the cheapest. I don't know the difference between the hot press or the cold press or anything like that. I just like the weight of it. So that's all you do. And the rub and buff dries pretty quickly. Just making sure I get my edges good. In case you can see them, this would make a great topper along with maybe, you know, just things underneath it or what have you. Or size them down and make them little jewels for inside a pocket, or poke a hole and make it a little dangle, or wrap the wire, which I've done before as well. But I'm not going to do that today because that takes a little bit of time and tools and all of that. But I am going to do it to a couple of the round ones. So that's it. So that's it for the rub and buff. I guess I should probably get rid of this just so I don't get it on anything. And the next thing I do, this I use for like, one time I made for a boho journal, I made these coins out of paper. So I bought this product, and it leaves like, it's a cream, and it's an outliner, and it's by Peebo. It's called Careen Relief Outliner. But it's, you know, multi-surface. This is called King Gold, which is the color I'm using. And this is how I put it on. And I don't use a lot of it. I just take it. I shouldn't have thrown that away yet. Some of them I do it to, like that one I didn't, but this one I'm going to because I want to show you. So it's like a little bit of a creamy consistency. Okay, and it's a different color than the rub and buff. Oh, I forgot to buff the rub. Hold on. After I use the rub and buff, and the reason why it's called rub and buff is because when you buff it, it brings that shine up, as you can see. Maybe not in the camera, but it's not exactly dry yet, but it's fine. But if you rub it, see, it buffs it out. It buffs it up and makes it look like, almost like real, like gold. It's beautiful. So it's not quite dry, as you can see. I'm still getting some on the cotton, but it's fine. I should have waited a little bit longer for it to dry. But that's all right. It's fine. It's working how I want it to. But now can you see the difference? I don't know if it's showing up in the camera or not, but it just, I don't know, it kind of gives it a brassy, almost antique-y looking color. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I just love these. I'm addicted to them. See, that's just, now it's dry, so it's really buffing out nice. And it's giving it that brassy, golden look. But it's not too much, you know, it's not overpowering. It's not making it look new. It's actually giving it some age, which is what I wanted, was my intent when I started this. Okay, so let me just get those little cotton threads off. Okay, so then what I did was, you take a toothpick or, you know, anything. I'm using this. I'm not using that one because it's got some medium on it. I'm going to use a clean one. I have like thousands of these. I don't know why. We used to use them for like skewers for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around it here and there and sort of give it like little bits of pieces of like, can't really explain it. You'll see. So I'm going to like do, you know how like ancient coins kind of had a little, and it gives it a little bit of a dimension. This does. So I'm just kind of going around and putting a little dot of it here and there. Like I'll put a couple in there. I'll hold it up to the camera. And you don't have to do this part. I happen to have this item. It's great for like medieval or like medieval Mirage digitals. This would be great for those because she has like a lot of coins and things. And Lydia from Raindrop Lila has a boho kit where she it has coins in it. I wonder if I have any of those coins left. If I did, they would be right there. I had a whole bunch. I made a whole bunch of coins for that journal. And they looked like real coins. They really did. Because wherever there was a spot where I could put this little dimension on it, I did. Just gonna put like a few in here, over here, where I can see that at one time there was something there. I'm gonna try to hold this up closer to the camera and hope it focuses okay. So I'm just dabbing it because when it dries, and it dries fairly quickly, when it dries, it gives it that sort of metallic, almost like a, what am I trying to say? What is that word? Like a weld, almost like a welding, you know, like a real gold, real gold, actually. You know, that possibly when they made it, when they made this medallion or cameo, you know, they dripped the gold onto it after, you know, the gold was put on or something. I don't know. You know who I have such an imagination. It really is ridiculous. I'm just gonna put that down there. So that's all. I don't add a lot, just enough. And those will dry exactly like that. You know, they'll dry hard, and you will have that effect of there being, you know, a little bit of a can't really explain it because it's in my mind, you know. It's very weird. I don't know. I'm just, anyway, so that's that. I'll let that dry. And then I'll wipe this off because I can still use it. So that's what I put that on with. And then I'll let that dry. And, well, actually, I could probably do it now. So my next step, I'll let that dry. I don't have to. I'll just do the next step. So you do not have to do this step because you probably don't even have this. I have it whenever I do my boho journals or if I'm making coins for something. Because, I mean, I don't have any coins, you know, ancient coins to be able to use in journals, and I like to kind of use sort of the right, you know, I'm weird. I'm sorry. For those of you who are new, don't think I'm out of my mind. Okay, so the next product I'm going to use is called Triple Thick. Now, you don't have to use this. You can use Nuvo drops, but for me, it has a little bit more water in it, so it could spread the ink because I have an inkjet printer. You could use glossy accents, or what's really amazing is you can use a couple of coats of, and I don't have any left, and I threw the bottle away, but you could use, they have a product now at the Dollar Tree. They have, I'm sure they have it everywhere, but it's for fingernail polish. But it is the high gloss gel, but you don't need a light or anything for it. So it's high gloss gel fingernail polish. That works really well because it's acetone. It doesn't have any water in it. So you can put it right on and it dries, but I don't have any left. So that's how that one was made. And as you can see, the difference in it, it just, I don't know, it just makes it look like more of a tile, sort of, you know? I love it. And I did back those on green file folder because I wanted that green edge on it. So the next step is you take this. Now, if you are going to purchase this, don't purchase the jar, because the jar, even if you close it tight, first of all, you can't get it open. Even if you cover it with plastic wrap and close it, you still can't get it open, no matter how well you clean the cover. And when you do go to open it, it's so thick, and you can't add water to it because it doesn't really have a lot of water in it, I don't think. So if you don't have this product, you can use Nuvo drops. If you don't have Nuvo drops, you can use glossy accents. If you don't have glossy accents, you can use the high glaze, you know, the high gloss fingernail polish for whatever I said the nails were. People use it to put on, I didn't put the cover back on that. Where is it? People use it for like, to really harden their fingernails. You can do it at the hair salon too, I think. Or the, not the hair salon, but the nail salon. So anyway, if you're going to buy this product, and it lasts forever because, I mean, you don't use it that often. I'm going to put a little bit in this dish. And I'm not, as you will see, I'm not brushing it on. If you brush it, you're going to brush the inks and it will change the color. So, unless you use the fingernail polish, you're pretty safe. So I'm going to just, and the reason why I do it this way is because I don't want it to pour out of the bottle and give me too much. So what I do is I kind of just do that, and then I take this little stick, and I'm not spreading the paper, I'm spreading the triple thick. And I would suggest, if you're going to use the glossy accents or the other product, you do the same thing. Don't touch your print, just let it sit there. The thing I like most about the triple thick is it's self-settles, so you don't get any, like, it will settle all together. And yeah, just don't use a brush. I've made that mistake before, and it just, I don't know, you get brush strokes and everything. So this is how I made my faux cameos, and I love them. And I make these, like I said, I make all kinds of jewelry using this method for my junk journal because they're lightweight. So, you know, with beads and stuff like that, sometimes they can be a little bit heavy. Now I'm going to actually take this, put what I can on there. This is just because I don't want it all to pour out of the bottle. Now I'm going to tip this like this. And I'm going to have it start running this way. And I'm pushing the triple thick, as you can see. Because I don't want a real heavy coat on there. I just want it light because I'm just looking for like a marbled effect. I don't want it real shiny. I just want that marbled, old world effect. Oh my gosh, the second I saw these, this is what I knew I was going to do with them. But see, as it's dripping, and it will all settle really nice once you lay it flat. And I'll probably need more. Just watch it and just have it move in the right direction. And move the material, you know, move the triple thick, try not to brush against the print. And I'm not going on my gold at all. I don't want to change that. I want that to stay the way it is. Now, I guess I'll put a little bit more on this because I'm kind of getting gutsy here. So I'll take it, and as you can see, I'm just spreading it like so. I'm not at all. I'm spreading the triple thick and I'm barely touching the paper itself because I don't want to and don't keep going over it. Once you've hit it, leave it. It dries pretty fast. And I've got a fan on over me, so it's drying even faster. Which I'm not really used to. It was just installed yesterday. And so that dried so much faster than when I did them the other night. So I'm just trying to make sure there's no... You don't really get any bubbles or anything, which is nice. And like I said, it's self-leveling, so it will level by itself. It's just one little spot more I have to get. I can see it as I tilt it, and it's right here. So, and one coat is plenty. You don't want to do more than one coat. But see how little I use? I didn't even use that much. And then you just lay it flat to dry, and it should dry by the time the video's over. Because I'm going to do a couple more things. That's it for the Cameo. Now, what will you do with it? Whatever you want. Cover on a journal, stick it in a pocket, make a good size snippet from it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it anywhere. Oops, there is a spot right here that I missed. I'm not going to try and spread that down. I'm just going to add a little bit, because if I touch it to spread it down, I'm going to leave a mark because it's drying as I'm putting it on. Okay? And that's it. Okay? I hope this is making sense. But they're so pretty. And I'll show you, you can do this to anything and make such really nice jewelry for your journal or for anything really. Oh, I did get a little bit on that gold, so I'm just gonna let it stay there and see what happens. There we go. I'll lay this down flat. And that's it. I'm not going to scrape it over or anything. I've looked at it in the light. I've tilted it. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing missing. There's a tiny bit missing right here. But see how I'm adding to it rather than trying to push what's there already. Because if you do, you're going to make a big scrape. And that's really hard to get rid of. You'd have to let it dry and do a whole second coat. Okay, so that's it. That's her. She is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Hold on. Just put another. I'll show you how big the drop is. It's that much. And I'm going to take my little stick. Toothpick would be good. But they're in the kitchen. I use these for so many things. I stole them from the kitchen. There. There. Everything is covered now. I can't see any paper anymore. And that will self-level. So I'll just leave that there. And I'll show you, I'll just do one of these. I have some that are already dry. Let me see, did these have backs on them yet? No. Sometimes, oh, this one does, so I'll do this one next. So again, I'm going to put it in here because I don't trust myself. Oh! And this way I can control what I put on her. I'm going to start at this corner. I'm going to go across the top. And I'm going to move it. Well, I'm going to move it up first because I didn't get it right to the top. And then I'm going to start moving it this way as I tilt it. And I'm not rubbing against the print. Because if you do, you're going to mess it up. It's going to turn all different colors. These don't need a lot. So yeah, I'll title it Junk Journal Jewelry. Because, I mean, there are many, many, many uses for them. But see, now there is some color coming out here, but I like it. It's making it look a little bit more antique, but I love it. It's not spreading. It's just bringing that color that was in the photo in the first place that you couldn't see before I put it on. Now watch the difference. So here's one that hasn't been done yet, right? So let me see how much I have in here. I think I'm getting brave. I'm just going to do it this way. Let me just shake it up a little bit more. I did put a little bit too much on that. So I'm going to just dab it on the top like so, right? And then I'm going to move it a little bit up here because I didn't get it all on the edge, which is fine. And then I'm going to move it this way. And then you put lace behind it, make snippets out of it, or like I said, you know, poke a little hole in it and hang it off the side of your journal, put it in a pocket, put it in a little envelope, journal topper, a mini journal topper. This would be so cute on a mini journal topper. You know, or two of them as the cover of a mini journal. Oh, these are sized down too. And oh my gosh, I don't remember where they're from. I have no idea. They were in my ephemera book. So I just grabbed them. Now, as you can see, I did not touch the print, but you'll see all different colors come out of that, what was in the paper, which is so nice. Let's put a little dot right there and let it move down. And just get it over there, which is where I want it. And like I said, the good thing about the triple thick is it's self-settling, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. So now once those dry, which doesn't take a long time, I'll do it on one that's already dry. I have to wipe the top of that off. And you really need to keep this clean with warm water and soap, or that top won't pop up. But I definitely recommend, if you do get triple thick, make sure you get it in this bottle. I've had this bottle for almost a year and it hasn't dried up at all. And it's pretty full because you don't need a lot. But see the difference in, oh, it just makes it look so much better. Like, to me, it gives it that real sort of old, ancient, look at it, just brought out all those colors. I'll bring it up. If I don't drop it, I'll be very happy. But if I had used a brush, those colors would have spread all over her face. They would have spread all over her dress. Can you see how pretty that is? There's some burgundies, some greens that came out. Same with her dress, how green that is now. The background has a more peachy color. You can see her highlights in her hair. It's just amazing to me. I love it. So then I'll do this one and show you what I do at the end. So this one's dry. I just did it too before I turned on the camera, so they don't really take very long to dry. And this one is just about dry as well. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so beautiful. It's just about dry. You'll be able to tell when it's dry. Don't touch it, but you'll be able to tell when it's dry because everything will be all filled in. Like, I can see a couple of spots that aren't filled in, but they'll be all filled in when it's dry, like this one. This one's all dry, and it looks just like marble. Look at along here, it looks like it tarnished. You know, like at one time it tarnished. It brought out all these little, you couldn't really see these before I did it. This looks three-dimensional. They're beautiful. Oh, I love them. Okay, and then I take some gold metallic paint on these. I don't use the rub and buff. I just take, you can use the rub and buff, but I'll show you. This only cost, what, $1.50 or something? I don't even know. I don't remember. I just put a little bit on my finger. And then I take it, and you can see all the different colors in that. Look at her hair. You can see her bow. I don't even know if it's showing up in the camera. But then I'll just take my gold metallic paint, and you can use silver. I have some silver too, but I like the gold. I think the gold looks good. And I don't try and make it look like real even. I kind of just do that. So you don't need that much. And you can use a brush. I have more control with my finger. It's just acrylic paint. It comes right off. I think that's enough. My gosh. So cute. That will dry in 1 second. I think I'll need a little tiny bit more on that bottom because it looks like I just kind of streaked it as opposed to like, yeah, that's better. I want it to have more of a frame, sort of, but looking more like it's wearing off than, you know what I don't know. It's very hard for me to explain my imagination. But that's how you do it. Just gonna hold it here. Hopefully I don't have any gold on my finger. I don't. And like I said, one of those was done with a napkin. So you don't have to have printables. And I'll do the napkin one maybe tomorrow if I do a video tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. Make sure you wash it out good with soap and water. And you can wash these off with soap and water as well. And just let them dry. I don't like to waste a lot of things. This will harden in here. Even though it's a covered, it will harden. So you want to wash that with soap and water. As for your hands, just take your hand sanitizer and it will come right off. Oh, I was going to do this one too. I bet she would have been beautiful. I was going to do her too, but her pearls, everything would show up so beautifully with the gold. You know, I'd put a little bit of gold there and there, but she's not backed yet. She's still on paper. I forgot about her. Here's the rest of them. And then there's this sheet as well. These are printed full size. Okay? And they're called Fairy Jewels. And you can make them as big or as small as you want. I just knew what size I needed for this particular journal. So that's why I did that size. Okay, so then when you're done, I'll just do it on this dry one because I don't want to touch the wet ones yet. But I just take my crocodile, or you can take a hole punch or whatever you want. Maybe, no, I'll use this. And then just wherever you want to punch it, whatever side you want to punch it, just make sure you're in there far enough so that, you know, it won't cut that edge off. And then you could just take like a little heart maybe and put it here and then attach it here. And then you could either add a bow, you know, to it for your glue bottle if you wanted to put it on your glue bottle, or you could you know, put more charms on it, add it to anything. I think what I'll do, since this journal is right here, I'll add it to one of these pages so you can see how cute it is. And then when the rest of them dry, I'll put a different one on. Well, actually, I do have a page I can put it on. That's kind of flimsy page. I just wanted to show you how cute it looked. Here, I have a page. Okay, so say this is, oh, dang. I don't want to mess up the journal because it's not mine anymore. So say this is your page. Excuse me, allergies. So say this is your page in your journal, right? And then you could just take this and this little charm or no charm, or you could even do something like this. I'll put this through, well no, I'll put this through here. Put this through here. This is just a little cotton crocheted, I forget what you call it, flower. And then you've got yourself a little piece of jewelry. Oh, you can make paper clips, hidden paper clips with these. You know, just glue it right onto the back of the paper clip. And now you've got something, and it's not real heavy that it's bending the page. And I've got a little charm and a little crochet thing there. And this is on linen paper, so linen paper is not even that sturdy. But isn't that cute? It's adorable. They're so cute. So I'll be using the circles in my other journal, which, and I'll be using these as well, these little tiles. I still have to do that one. But I think I told my husband to pick up some at the grocery store if they had it, or to stop at Dollar Tree, because that's where I got it the last time. That I don't know if it will come out the same way. But it looks, I mean, it's pretty darn close. You know? It just didn't spread, it just didn't bring out the color as much as the triple thick does. But that's it. We'll take her. Let me get rid of this dirty paper. That's why you want to put it on paper, because it will stick. I'm going to put it back on the paper because it will come off the paper. It won't come off of your board when you're done. See, that paint's already dry. And you could use the rub and buff if you wanted to. I like the gold paint on these. I suppose you could use the gold paint on these as well. I like the rub and buff. I think it gives it more, I think it gives it more of an ancient look, which is what I was going for. That real, like, cameo, I guess, or fairy jewel. So there's those, and then these I did the other day. And as you can see, it's got like that raised, I mean, that's as hard as a rock. Those little raised pieces are really, really hard. When they dry, it's really, really hard. I wish it came in other colors, because like on these, for the pearls, I just added a dot more, and this little jewel, I added a dot more of the triple thick after it was dry, so I could get those pearls to stand up. Those aren't flat backs or anything. Those are in the paper. So that's today's video. And I will be back again another time, hopefully tomorrow. It depends. I really do need to finish my mom's journal and get that out. So I hope you're all doing well and had a great day. I hope you enjoyed that video. For anybody that wanted to see how I made those, it was very simple. And like I said, I brought these out to just show you how I do these and what I use them for. You know, they're just, oh my goodness, they're so wonderful. And even in a journal, so sweet. It's probably not showing up, but this is really old. I just keep, you know, just put a pin through there, through the bow, and then I attach the bulb pin to that. And then I don't lose it. And anytime I'm using my glue bottle, I'll stick it in that piece of lace. When the lace gets dirty, I slide it off and put on another one. So that's it for today's video. My eyes. If you have any questions, I'll leave a link for the triple thick. I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon. I'm almost positive you can. Do not get it on your glass mat, your table, your countertop, or anything. You won't get it off. It hardens like a rock. You won't get it off. Definitely use baking paper, you know, something that, you know, you can throw away. Okay? So until next time, be well, be safe, be kind, and God bless. Bye-bye, y'all.